everyone, welcome back to another video. So we're picking up immediately where we left off yesterday. This is going to be episode 3 that we have for Endwalker. And this is my live reaction, so I really hope that you've been enjoying them so far. So last time we had our little tour of Sharlayan, and we finally have 2 of the new locations are going to be revealed to us. One, of course, is going to be Thannar. The other one, I'm pretty sure, is Labanthinos. Or I cannot pronounce that name. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I was warned that there's going to be a lot of long, difficult names in this particular game, and I'm not sure exactly where yet, but I have a feeling that Sharlayan's going to have a lot of them. Anyway, I thought it over. I'm going to be sticking in Sharlayan for the first set of quests, and then we'll go off to Thannar. We'll just say that the others need time to prepare for a journey, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so we are going back to the Baldessian Arsenal. Here we go. So, here we go. That's happening here. Sorry. Stupid camera. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, hitting the books. Kryl is intent on uncovering the reason behind the forum's inexplicable behavior. An unsettling change has come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Hence is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archives of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day, but now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should be much easier. Okay, let us reconverse outside Nomenon, shall we? Exit the Annet to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. And so it begins with the hard words. Oh, this won't be fun. Okay, you 3 take care. We'll be back soon. And it's early morning, too. I didn't notice that. Speak with Kryl. Where is she? Okay, there they are. I love these pine trees. And it's out just before Christmas, which is really appropriate. Oh, that's right. The Starlight Celebration is going to be next week. Can't wait for that. Apparently this year we're going to be getting 2 new Christmas-themed minions as well as a housing item. And I'm guessing it's up the stairs. Wasn't this the Studium? Yes, the Studium. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Nomenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Nomenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Gobo library pale in comparison to Nomenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Wow! And I remember how big that place was. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves, well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Yastola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alize and Alfinal will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or forum policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let's be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading. We're doing research! On one hand, I love it because I love lore. On the other hand, I hate studying. I know, it's kind of contradictory, but what can you do? And wow, I can see that it looks like it goes pretty deep. Okay. So... Oh! So cute! I thought that was a Lalafell at first. Okay, so... What are we looking for here? Okay, Time-Worn Tome. Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, Archon Newamcriff, founder of Charlene, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue the enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Charlians took to heart the words of their savior and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulating learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strengths of mind rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. That does explain a lot, doesn't it? Wealth of experience could be battered for wealth and coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Charlian would live by their founders' teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a better star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. Okay. And the next one is the well-worn manual. Okay, Forever 20 Summers. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health, then neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an empathy for all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon. We have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra: I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You can be 19 or 23 or 40, whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Though mindful, healthy living, you will extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, ethological, and arcane viewpoint. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, book is the wrong subject. Search for works that contain details on the forum or the mention of history of Charlian. Okay. How do you expect to do it in such a big place? Okay, blue-covered book. Introduction to the Heavens. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained there? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Poet, this guy. Some think the dome above us is finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's description of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologicalists of Allah who came closest to understanding the laws which govern the starry abyss. It was they who launched Alamud and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past, that their positions continued to shift almost impermanently but measurably as we journeyed into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? I mean, it's fascinating, but I don't think that's going to help us right now. What else we've got? Leather-bound tome. Okay, Voice of a Growing City. Okay, this looks like it might be helpful. The years which followed the founding of Charlian, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Elysia. a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decided that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of nationwide votes. Thus, the forum as we know it today, conceived and created. I wonder why they picked 99. Why not just round it up like 100 or something? Should be one more. Okay, so we have a couple more. Red Colored Book, Road of Old the Colony. Many years ago, on the banks of the Thaliak in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. I don't know why I can't read today. 50 years later, the forum passed a notion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as the official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amounts of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idleshire. Okay, goes into introduce the prominent features of Idleshire. Nope, so it's not going to help us out here. So I'm guessing the brightly colored book is the last one. Is there any others? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, brightly colored book. Story of Sharlayan. Here we go. Long, long ago, on an island in the Northern Sea, there lived a Rogadan man by the name of Neurocamp. Neurocamp was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Neurocramp's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Neurocramp wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Alabathia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there amongst them, but it was not long before disruptions over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sights, Neurocramp gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to those dreaded peaks. Their journey to the coast, where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time became the city of Sharlayan we live in today. Okay, so that's the fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history. Yes, and if you go back to Alamigo, you can actually see that very same ship. So it's a lot smaller than one would think. Like, you would think it was just like this massive ark. Instead, it's like this teeny tiny little boat that I honestly don't know how they make it work. I don't know how. Unless it somehow shrank thanks to the teleportation magic, which, knowing this game, it probably might. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final day specifically, so No choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. Yeah, I don't think they're going to just have books about the final days lying around. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. It's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. Seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Charlian, we were not to be allowed to cross the threshold. Damn. It's cold. Harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the Forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlene, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ishibard, in fact, for generations my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thannar. The Allegans founded a city in that fertile land and by ship brought in subjugated tribes of the Makote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allegan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as in the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amenonis. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. Darnus! Oh my god. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allegan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Alleganai no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alleg. As the last child born with the Alleganai, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Valdesian, who had me registered as a Charlian citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louiswa, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Charlians than you might think. Oh, it's nice, I guess. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. It is exactly why I have such a love for this country, and why I wished it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. I just love it when his ears twitch like that. He's adorable. Here, another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Claire. More company should be arriving any moment now. Okay. Oh, look at the carbuncles! Why are they different colors all of a sudden? I mean, we have a light blue and then we have a darker blue. What's going on here? What else do I know of Corvos? Precious little, I'm afraid. Got I've not returned since Master Galef first brought me here. I can tell you that Corvos' rebels still seek to slip the yoke of their Imperial masters, though the fighting is far less fierce than it once was. Oh, and they have carpets. Flying carpets. The legends are quite extraordinary. So that's where the flying carpets mount came from. There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with more recent events. If I can find anything to better inform the forum's baffling behavior. I don't think you're really gonna find anything, that's the problem. So many people I can't see! We return with our selections. Though I must say the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we'll be looking into research papers on the Umbral calamities, as well as the articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Or they're not anywhere in that library. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarot firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking critical details. Okay. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Civilization, creation magics, some from the ether. Yeah, so it's their creation magics. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the art of creation had survived until present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Y'shtola surmises that the closest known magics is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Ascians. While there was aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days, disaster at once, and keening sound from the land itself. Yeah, they mentioned that sound. We don't know what that sound was. Ah yes, the Ambertine spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thus as we were into that mist of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous sound. Eventually, it resounded all across the star, and not even Amarot was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say. To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I have to speak with one of the Nomenon's Mehmets and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What decisive action did they take? I'm surprised she doesn't know about this. I mean, you'd think that the others would have told her. But they summoned Zodiark. Well, Dalamud hadn't existed yet, but first they summoned Zodiark, and then they summoned Hydaelyn afterwards. Well, someone did. Vina, I think it was. Yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will there were laws of nature set all right. Then, once the balance was addressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have had Vina and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? It's so early on in the game, I really don't think that we'll be able to find out right away. Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? This is just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but 'tis time we begin studying these research papers. I'm starting to wish I went to Thannar. So many carbuncles! So cute! What am I doing? Destination. Okay. Man, this lag is just killing me. Last one, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced 1 or 2 possibly useful books. Hi, kitty. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Gurun oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, the tome was deemed apocalyptica and sealed away in the Great Global Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. That's what I'm thinking! It stands to reason, then, that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Fortuneau with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they would pose a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty, whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. I mean, I'm a scholar in a sense that I can heal, but research is not my strong point. Labor for what feels like an age as Y'shtola's research assistant. Oh, that's probably not fun. Poor thing. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what of your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? And the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, the mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right directions. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Oh boy. Thank you for your help. I think I managed the rest without your assistance. If I were you, I'd steal a few quiet moments for myself. That sounds nice right about now, actually. Let's see. Efforts to gain Grahati's attention go unnoticed. He appears to be lost in his reading. I found a knot of interest so far. I think Y'shtola might be right about us not getting our hopes up. Okay, a seat at the last stand. This one needs a study break. Yes, thank you! Ready for the tea break, Claire? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to classify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Yeah, I normally don't like coffee, but I'm all up for a coffee break. I'm just gonna teleport straight down. I like this. I really do like this new Ethernet system. Charming, isn't it? Busy as ever, I see. How very Charlian that no other gourmet cafes have sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Talafuroi. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Hey, Alize is now come to you! Keep her at her side to proceed with quest objectives. Okay, so we know how this works. And it's so cute! It's like our own little shadow following us everywhere. You have anything to say, by the way? Someone here at the cafe should be willing to speak with us. Let's ask around. What is it? Can't a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Talafuroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear, and... Wait, you're that Hell's Livier girl, aren't you? Well, this woman with you is obviously a foreigner. I hear you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are, giving truth to the rumor. I thank you to leave me be. I've not to say to the likes of you. Oh, jeez. Well, I must apologize. It was foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Claire. You okay? Yeah. Don't even listen to that jerk. I really don't think starting off immediately with the Talafuroi was a good idea. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Talafuroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Livier. My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortuneau that I was helping you... I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Well, at least she had a reason, I guess. Hey, Dickon. Welcome, madam. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alize I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the studium. It seems an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? It's complicated, and I haven't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Livier. No matter how discreet Master Fortuneau may have been, your news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times? Oh, he seems nice. We have questions, and only Charlian has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about the apocalypse called the Final Days? Alize, I think you're being a bit too forward. What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid, and that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I Wish there was more I could do to help. Maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlian, aren't you? Then if you will know your face, we should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. Really? In that outfit? We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you just might get the answers that you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? I mean, I don't know what they think of with me dressed to the nines in armor and a sword at my side. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea set is for the chatty group sitting up by the water's edge. The omelet is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. And behind them you should see a Makote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck! I mean, you're not going to at least give us a cute apron, you know, to make it a little bit more realistic? That's just me. Okay, so we avoid that jerk. And I'm guessing this is it. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, there we go. Stupid lag, of course. Okay, and they're the ones with the tea set. Oh, my tea set! Lovely, thank you! Yeah, I was wondering if you knew anything about the final days. The Talafra who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them or your final days. My friends and I somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about the ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or historic, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Well, you're no help then, are you? Then again, like I said, I don't think that most people are going to be privy to the final days or the Talaferoi. Okay, so that's her, Gissa. And she got the omelet. Ah, finally. 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in. No time to wait. Waste. Yeah, that does not rhyme. Sounds like it rhymes, but it doesn't rhyme. What? The Talaferoi? Oh yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Well, you're even less help than that, but hey, at least we know about the Gazette now. Okay. So this is the Makote. And I guess he got the lobster, right? I'm trying to remember all the food. Yeah, the oven-baked lobster. Here we go. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. Final days. First I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend's been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. Gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Charlian. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, pick up every grain which they missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. We might actually be good gleaners. If these Talaferoi make good on their audacious threats, then many uncategorized rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Well, at least he seemed nice and he gave us some information. So enjoy your lobster, sir. Okay, Alize. Got some information. Not really sure if it will help us. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Diggin had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drink somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Yeah, I wouldn't mind like a nice, quiet place to sit and just think, I guess. There they are. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
I really don't think so. Well, that's not suspicious looking.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
So they do know about it. Labyrinthos? Oh, why can't I pronounce it?
A vast complex beneath the island. Charlian is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait, didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Labyrinthos. Okay, I'll get there eventually. But yeah, so my theory of like being a secret underground bunker sounds more plausible by the day. All right. So it's official. This is going to be our first area that we're going to go to. But I think we'll save that for the next episode. Let's just see here if the quest would update. Okay. Okay. I can't even move here. There we go. Okay, yeah, so I think this is actually a good place to actually put a pause for right now. Okay, so we're going to be going to Labyrinthos. Labyrinthos? I don't know why. It's hard for me to pronounce it. But we're going to be going into that new area in the next episode. We'll see what happens down there, and if we find out any information that the forum is hiding. I doubt it. It's still a bit too early, but we are going to get a tiny taste of this new area. So let's go ahead and enjoy that by the next episode. So until then, this is Fantasy Girl signing out.